All right, let's just jump right in. We're living in late 2025, and every time you use your phone, stream a show, or even just walk down the street, you're leaving a trail. Not a physical one, but a digital one. This huge, invisible footprint of data. So today, we're going to follow that trail and see exactly where it leads.
Let's start with the number. 272 million. That's how many people had their personal info. We're talking names, social security numbers, all of it, exposed in the National Public Data Breach. And get this, that one single event compromised nearly 3 billion records.
And you know what's wild? That was just one breach. The last couple of years have been an absolute minefield. Ticketmaster got hit, affecting 560 million people. A breach at Salesforce cascaded down and forced Google to warn its 2.5 billion users to change their passwords. AT&T, over 100 million phone records exposed. These are not just numbers, They represent this massive systemic problem where our personal information is just out there.
So all of this data, all these breaches, they add up to what you could call our digital ghost. It's like this phantom version of you, built from every click and search you've ever made. And as we just saw, it's constantly at risk of being stolen, sold, and used in ways you never, ever intended.
Which really brings us to the big question, right? Why? Why is all this data even being collected in the first place? If it's so dangerous, why are companies hoarding trillions of data points about us every single day? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's worth a fortune.
People have called it a digital gold rush. And that phrase, it's perfect. It actually came from a story about troll farms, but it really captures the bigger picture. Our data, our likes, where we go, what we buy, it's become one of the most profitable commodities on Earth. And that's fueled this frantic rush to collect as much of it as humanly possible.
So what makes it so valuable? Well, it's basically the engine of our entire modern economy. It's the fuel for artificial intelligence and machine learning. That, in turn, allows companies to dream up new products and gives them this huge leg up on the competition. But maybe most importantly, all this data powers the algorithms that make real-world decisions that impact our actual lives, from getting a loan to the news you see in your feed.
So, you can probably guess what happened next. This unchecked data collection has led to a massive pushback. People in governments are finally starting to ask, hey, is the price of all this innovation just too high? And that's created this global showdown between corporate interests and our demand for privacy.
A huge turning point in this whole fight was GDPR over in Europe. It was absolutely landmark legislation because really, for the first time on a massive scale, it legally recognized our rights over our own data. It gave people the right to see, correct, and even delete the information companies have on them. It basically set a new standard for the whole world.
And this really gets to the heart of the issue. You've got this giant tug of war. On one side, you have companies, and they're driven to collect data, to innovate, and to win. And on the other side, you've got regulations like GDPR, demanding transparency, consent, and control for us, the users. It's this fundamental battle over who actually owns our digital selves.
So with all this new pressure, what are companies doing? Well, a lot of them are developing these complex internal roadmaps, kind of like the one you see here. And this isn't just for PR. It's a real structured process. It starts with setting a vision, defining principles, then moves to assessing risks and setting up governance. The goal is to create a company-wide culture of responsible tech. It's a serious attempt to build ethics from the inside out, trying to balance their business goals with their responsibilities to us. But this brings up another question, a weirder one, maybe. If the risks are so high, and this fight for privacy is so intense, how did we get to a place where all this data collection just feels normal? How did constant surveillance become just another part of life?
Well, the truth is, using information on a massive scale to influence people is not new at all. It's just evolved. Think about it. During World War I, you had propaganda posters playing on patriotism. In the 1930s, you had governments taking complete control of the press. Fast forward to recent history, and you have profit-driven troll farms and state-sponsored social media campaigns. The goal has always been the same: shape how people think and act. It's just that the technology of 2025 has made it faster, way more personal, and almost impossible to escape.
And there's a key psychological reason this all works so well on us. It's a little thing called in-group bias. Basically, we are hardwired to trust information that comes from our tribe, people we identify with. An MIT study actually showed that people were way more likely to share stuff that matched their political views, whether it was true or not. And this is exactly what algorithms exploit to create these powerful online echo chambers, making us feel comfortable and reinforcing certain ideas until they just feel like the undeniable truth.
So look, after hearing all that, the data breaches, the digital gold rush, the psychological games, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed, maybe even powerless. But it doesn't have to be that way. The key is to turn all this awareness into actual empowerment.
Because, let's be honest, in 2025, being digitally literate isn't optional anymore. It's a fundamental life skill. It's just as crucial as knowing how to read and write. It's about understanding the world you're living in and having the tools to navigate it safely and on your own terms.
And you can start right now. Here are 3 things you can do to take back some control. First, be a critical thinker. That just means actively questioning where information comes from before you believe it or share it. Second, master your settings. Seriously, don't just accept the defaults. Take 5 minutes, go into your apps, and manage what you're sharing. And third, protect your footprint. Just think before you post. Be aware of the data you're handing over, because online, that trail can last forever.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We're living in a world that is literally being built on top of our personal data. So the question we all have to ask ourselves is this: is real privacy just a memory, something from a bygone era? Or is it the next great fight for our digital future?